order. Order in the Grand Galactic Chamber. Ambassador Krill-Bot 9000's voice modulators crackled with static, a sure sign he was getting agitated. His metallic appendages shuffled through the mountain of paperwork before him, causing several sheets to flutter down to the polished quantum marble floor. According to Form X789B, subsection Q, paragraph 47, line 3842, we must address the growing human situation. The assembled members of the Galactic Council groaned in perfect harmony. Even Lady Sparkles, usually a beacon of composed bioluminescence, dimmed her glow to a frustrated purple. Her crystalline voice chimed through the chamber. Not the humans again. Last week they introduced something called karaoke to the Centaurian system. Now half my species won't stop singing something called Sweet Caroline. Ba ba, echoed an enthusiastic junior delegate from the back, quickly silenced by collective glares. Commander Rock, his granite features as serious as ever, ground his teeth in contemplation, creating a sound similar to a small avalanche. The humans are disrupting the very foundation of galactic society. Yesterday, one of them tried to explain something called dad jokes to my offspring. Do you know what my youngest pebble asked me this morning? Why don't stones go to school? Because they're too hard. His crystalline structure nearly cracked from embarrassment. Krill-Bot 9000 raised 3 of his 7 appendages, causing more papers to cascade around him. That's precisely why we're here today. I've compiled a 47,000-page report detailing every instance of human unpredictability in the past solar cycle. For instance, Section 7403 documents a human responding to a near-death experience by saying LOL. Yeet before backflipping away from a plasma burst. Can we just read the executive summary? Lady Sparkles flickered hopefully. There isn't one. Krill-Bot 9000 replied with mechanical smugness. I believe in being thorough. Now, if you'll all turn to page 1. A collective groan rippled through the chamber again. From the observation deck, a maintenance drone reported seeing several council members quietly banging their heads, appendages or sensory clusters against their desks. Furthermore, Krill-Bot continued, oblivious to the despair around him, we must address their most recent violation of Galactic Code 5,678,903Z, the unauthorized distribution of a substance called hot sauce to the bland tongue species of Sector 7. He paused for dramatic effect. They've developed taste buds. Do you understand the gravity of this situation? An entire species known for their complete lack of culinary interests is now demanding something called Taco Tuesday. Lady Sparkles brightened momentarily. Well, I must admit, those tacos are quite. No. Commander Rock slammed his mineral fist down, cracking the quantum marble table. We cannot allow ourselves to be seduced by their chaotic ways. Next thing you know, they'll be teaching us about something called Casual Fridays or Happy Hour. Krill-Bot 9000's processors whirred in agreement, precisely why we must act now. According to page 23,456 of my report, the council settled in for what promised to be a very, very long session. In the background, that same junior delegate quietly hummed Sweet Caroline, unable to help himself. The infamous incident at Nebula Nibbles, the most prestigious restaurant chain in 7 galaxies, sent shockwaves through the cosmic community. Baron von Tentacles, the establishment's owner and self-proclaimed culinary genius, stood all 20 tentacles rigid as he denied entry to Captain Maya Rodriguez of the Earth Diplomatic Corps. I simply cannot allow humans in my establishment, the Baron announced, his tentacles twisting into what he believed was an apologetic gesture, but looked more like a failed attempt at balloon animals. Last week, a human asked if our plutonian plasma soup was spicy. It's merely radiating at 7,000 degrees Kelvin. Captain Rodriguez crossed her arms, one eyebrow raised so high it threatened to escape Earth's gravity. So you're saying the sign that reads all species welcome should actually read all species welcome, except those annoying humans who keep asking about food temperature. Precisely. The Baron's color changed to a satisfied mauve, completely missing the sarcasm. I'm glad you understand, though perhaps with fewer words. My sign maker charges by the letter. The incident might have remained a mere diplomatic hiccup if not for what happened next. Captain Rodriguez, maintaining direct eye contact with Baron von Tentacles, slowly pulled out her phone and left a 1-star review on Space Yelp. The ambience is pretentious, the service is discriminatory, and they don't even serve bread before the meal. What kind of restaurant doesn't serve bread? 0 stars, but the app won't let me go lower. Within hours, the review went viral across 17 dimensions. Humans, known for their exceptional ability to hold grudges and their mastery of passive-aggressive online behavior, flooded the restaurant's rating page. The coup de grace came when someone edited Baron von Tentacle's Wikipedia page to read known for being the only being in the universe who can turn up their nose despite not having one. The Galactic Council, in their infinite wisdom, decided the best response was to implement a series of increasingly ridiculous regulations targeting humans. Krill-Bot 9000 worked overtime, his processors nearly melting from the effort of generating new paperwork. All human vessels must now be painted in colors visible to species that can see beyond the normal light spectrum, he announced proudly. Also, they must attach warning labels that read caution contains humans may react unpredictably to common sense. The regulations grew more absurd by the day. Humans were required to wear bells around their necks so other species could hear them coming. All human ships needed to be equipped with emotional stabilizers devices that played calming music whenever human heart rates increased. The council even mandated that humans needed to file their jokes 48 hours in advance for approval, with a separate permit required for puns. Commander Rock spearheaded a particularly controversial measure requiring all humans to remain at least 50 meters away from any source of caffeine. It's for everyone's safety, he insisted, while simultaneously trying to hide his own newly acquired coffee mug behind his mineral structure. Lady Sparkles, who had secretly developed a taste for human stand-up comedy, attempted to argue for moderation. Perhaps we're being a bit harsh. After all, they did introduce us to something called Netflix and chill. The chamber fell silent. 3 junior delegates spontaneously molted. That's exactly the problem, Krill-Bot 9000 exclaimed, sparks flying from his indignation circuits. They keep introducing these concepts that make no logical sense. Just yesterday, I caught 2 of my processing units watching something called cat videos during their maintenance cycle. The regulations reached their peak absurdity when the council demanded that all humans must hop on 1 foot while patting their heads and reciting the entire Galactic Constitution backwards when requesting any form of permit. Captain Rodriguez, in response, submitted a formal request to classify malicious compliance as Earth's primary export. The tension continued to mount. Humans, displaying their characteristic adaptability, turned each new regulation into a form of entertainment. They started organizing underground speakeasies where they could tell jokes without permits. Some even began offering tours, come see the humans fill out ridiculous paperwork in their natural habitat. Lady Sparkles found herself secretly attending these gatherings, her bioluminescence disguised under a trench coat and fedora. Commander Rock's youngest pebble was caught trading Earth memes on the black market. Even Krill-Bot 9000's printer began showing signs of rebellion, mysteriously producing smiley faces on official documents. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. It didn't have to wait long. The Galactic Trade Commission's new regulations read like a comedy script written by a bureaucrat having an existential crisis. Posted at every spaceport, the rules now included gems such as human vessels must be bubble-wrapped on the outside, because you never know with humans, and all human cargo must be labeled with warning signs in 47 different languages, including interpretive dance. Ambassador Jessica Martinez sat through these announcements with an eye roll so profound it was rumored to have shifted the orbit of a nearby moon. Her ability to convey disdain through ocular movement had become legendary throughout the galaxy. Species with multiple eyes would gather just to watch her reactions during council sessions, placing bets on which direction her eyes would roll next. Furthermore, Droned Trade Commissioner Blorp, a name he insisted was very dignified in his culture. All human ships must now be equipped with what we're calling predictability enhancers. And what, pray tell, is a predictability enhancer? Martinez asked, her eye roll charging up like a video game special move. Simple. It's a device that makes random sounds whenever humans are about to do something unpredictable. Blorp's gelatinous form wiggled with pride. And how exactly does it know when we're about to do something unpredictable? That's the brilliant part, it makes random sounds constantly. Martinez's resulting eye roll registered on seismic monitors 3 systems away. The trade restrictions grew increasingly bizarre. Humans were required to sing their cargo manifests in opera style. All human ships needed to be painted with polka dots because, according to the regulation, polka dots are the least surprising pattern in the universe. Each vessel had to carry a certified surprise prevention officer, usually a very bored alien whose job was to say, well, actually, before any human could suggest anything. During one particularly memorable council session, Martinez found herself explaining why requiring all human pilots to wear mittens might be counterproductive to spaceship operation. But how else can we prevent them from pressing buttons? Impulsively asked Subcommittee Chair Squiggles, a being composed entirely of living punctuation marks. You do realize we need to press buttons to fly the ships, right? Hey, pressing buttons, that's exactly the kind of unpredictable behavior we're trying to regulate. The security requirements weren't much better. Human ships now needed to be equipped with mood lighting that would automatically adjust to soothing colors whenever human heart rates increased. Unfortunately, the alien definition of soothing meant all human vessels were now perpetually bathed in a color that can only be described as aggressively beige. Martinez's legendary patience was tested daily. During one trade negotiation, she had to explain why requiring humans to moonwalk while loading cargo for maximum predictability might not enhance efficiency. But Ambassador Martinez protested. Safety Inspector Zizat, the 7 Zs, were silent. Our studies show that humans are least likely to cause trouble while moonwalking. They're too focused on getting the slide right. Those weren't studies, Martinez replied, pinching the bridge of her nose. Those were Michael Jackson videos. The final straw came during the annual Galactic Trade Summit. Krill-Bot 9000, who had somehow acquired a fusion-powered spray bottle, followed human delegates around, spritzing them with calm-down juice whenever they showed signs of enthusiasm. Martinez sat through the entire session with a smile that made hardened diplomats nervous. It was the kind of smile that suggested someone was calculating exactly how many forms it would take to legally classify malicious compliance as a form of performance art. In her private office later that day, Martinez drafted what would become known as the "Oh, you want predictable" memo. The document was exactly 1 page long, contained precisely 0 adjectives, and was written in perfect galactic standard bureaucracies. It detailed humans' intention to become extremely predictable in their response to these regulations. As she filed the memo, her assistant, a reformed space pirate named Chuck, noticed her expression. "Should I start stockpiling coffee?" he asked nervously. "Oh yes," Martinez replied, her smile growing wider. "And get me the contact details for every human comedy club in the galaxy. If they want predictable, we'll give them predictable. They can predict exactly how much they're going to regret this." The memo was filed at precisely 3:47 p.m. Galactic Standard Time. Later, historians would mark this as the moment when humanity's patience officially ran out. Though nobody knew it yet, Operation Petty Revenge was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. Meanwhile, somewhere in the Council archives, Krill-Bot 9000's printer spontaneously printed a single page with just one word, "Oops." The emergency session of the Galactic Council began at the horrifically early hour of what humans called Monday morning. The chamber buzzed with panic as Regulation Enforcement Officer Pipsqueak, trembling so hard his anti-gravity stabilizers malfunctioned, delivered the report. They're drinking it anyway," he squeaked, his tiny form bobbing up and down in distress. "We banned coffee imports, and they're still drinking it." Ambassador Martinez sat at the human delegation's table, deliberately taking a long, slow sip from a steaming mug labeled "Tears of My Enemies." Their decaf, the sound of her slurping echoed through the chamber like a horror movie sound effect. "This is impossible." Krill-Bot 9000's circuits practically sizzled. "We've blocked every coffee shipment. We've regulated every coffee plant. We've even arrested several suspicious-looking coffee cup-shaped objects." Martinez took another sip, maintaining direct eye contact. Lady Sparkles flickered anxiously. Perhaps we should reconsider the coffee ban." "Reconsider?" Commander Rock's voice caused several stalactites to form on the ceiling. "Do you know what happened in Sector 7 this morning?" A human responded to the coffee ban by setting up something called a Starbucks in their embassy. They're claiming it's protected by diplomatic immunity. Martinez raised her mug in a little toast. "But that's not the worst part," Pipsqueak continued, his voice reaching frequencies only quantum particles could hear. They're teaching other species about coffee breaks." The chamber erupted in chaos. 3 council members fainted. Lady Sparkles strobed through 17 different colors of panic. Commander Rock's surface developed stress fractures. Order Krill-Bot 9000 thundered, accidentally activating his old dial-up internet sound effect in his agitation. Ambassador Martinez, explain yourself. Martinez carefully placed her mug down, the sound somehow more threatening than a battleship's weapons array. Oh, I'm sorry, she said, her voice dripping with sweetness that could rot teeth in 7 dimensions. I was just enjoying my nice cup of tea. That is clearly coffee, Pip Squeak accused. Prove it, Martinez replied calmly, taking another sip. Well, that is, Pip Squeak's universal translator gave up and displayed a 404 error comeback not found message. You can't analyze the contents, Martinez continued. That would violate Section 47 billion of the Personal Beverage Privacy Act, which you insisted on implementing last week. Krill-Bot 9000's processors made a sound like a vintage computer trying to run a modern video game. But the smell. Are you saying you can identify beverages by smell? Because that would violate the non-olfactory discrimination clause of Article 789, subsection Q, which you added yesterday. The council watched in horror as Martinez pulled out a second mug from seemingly nowhere. Would anyone like some definitely not coffee? I hear the caffeine content is particularly non-existent today. Lady Sparkles, who had been inching closer throughout the exchange, suddenly illuminated with guilty interest. Is that what humans call a pumpkin spice variety? Trader Commander Rock bellowed, but his accusation was undermined by the small coffee grinder that fell out of his mineral deposits. The emergency session devolved into chaos. Reports flooded in from across the galaxy. Humans were conducting coffee ceremonies in their embassies. Underground coffee shops were appearing in diplomatic zones. Worst of all, someone had introduced the concept of coffee happy hour to the Galactic Bureaucrats Union. Martinez stood up, clutching her mug like a power move. By the way, has anyone noticed the interesting pattern of human trade ships lately? About how they've been following your new regulations so precisely that it's actually slowed down all galactic commerce by exactly 42.7%. The council froze. In the sudden silence, the sound of Martinez sipping her definitely not coffee seemed to echo into infinity. Almost like it was predictable, she added with a smile that made supernovas look dim. Somewhere in the distance, a human began humming Sweet Caroline again. This time, 3 council members found themselves unconsciously swaying along. The galaxy had finally discovered a fundamental truth: never get between humans and their coffee. Operation Petty Revenge began precisely at 9 a.m. Galactic Standard Time, because nothing says we can be predictable like perfect timing. Ambassador Martinez, now officially titled Supreme Commander of Passive-Aggressive Operations, launched the first strike from her office while drinking her 4th cup of definitely not coffee. Send in the dad joke, she commanded. Chuck, her assistant, pressed a button labeled "In case of emergency." Dad this across the galaxy. Every communication channel simultaneously broadcast. Why don't aliens like taking breaks? Because they don't need any space. The effect was instantaneous. Krill-Bot 9000's entire bureaucratic network crashed as his processors tried to understand the concept of wordplay. The help desk was flooded with tickets reading error, multiple meanings detected. But that was just the beginning. Every hour, on the hour, a new dad joke penetrated the galactic frequencies. The humans maintained perfect, predictable timing, making it somehow worse. What do you call an alien with 3 eyes? An alien. Commander Rock's youngest Pebble couldn't stop repeating it, causing his crystalline structure to develop hairline fractures from suppressed laughter. Lady Sparkles was caught illuminating in rhythm to "Why did the alien go to the doctor?" Because it had a case of the humanities. Phase 2 began exactly 12 hours later. Captain Rodriguez, now heading the Department of Strategic Feline Deployment, unleashed what became known as the Great Cat Video Bombardment. Every screen in the Galactic Council building suddenly displayed cats knocking things off tables in perfect synchronization. But why are they doing that?" wailed Pip Squeak, unable to look away from a compilation of cats attacking Christmas trees. The objects serve no tactical purpose. That's the point, Rodriguez replied with a smile that could freeze a sun. They don't need a reason. They're cats. The council tried to resist. They implemented emergency protocols, attempted to block the transmissions, even tried wearing special anti-cuteness goggles. Nothing worked. The cats were everywhere. Then came the strategic deployment of Nyan Cat across all emergency broadcast frequencies. Even the most hardened bureaucrats found themselves humming along. 3 different species developed an evolutionary adaptation just to be able to perceive rainbow Pop-Tart cats better. Ambassador Martinez walked into the next council session followed by a holographic keyboard cat playing the Imperial March. She had replaced all her official documentation with icon has cheeseburger memes translated into perfect galactic standard. This is against regulations, Krill-Bot 9000 sputtered. Actually, Martinez replied, sliding a 500-page document across the table. I've filled out all the necessary paperwork to classify cat videos as an official form of diplomatic communication. You'll find everything is in order, including Form K1TT3N and the required Can I Speak to Your Manager permits. The document was perfect, too perfect. Every clause cited, every regulation followed to the letter. It was malicious compliance elevated to an art form. But the humans weren't done. They introduced something even more devastating: predictable unpredictability. Every human ship now arrived exactly on schedule, followed every regulation to the microsecond, and filed paperwork so perfect it made bureaucrats weep. And yet, somehow, this perfect compliance caused more chaos than any rebellion ever could. They're organizing their cargo alphabetically, reported a frantic dock worker. But they're using the alphabet from a different Earth language every time while citing the Cultural Preservation Act of 3157. The humans had weaponized bureaucracy itself. They submitted safety inspection requests in triplicate, quadruplicate, and just for fun centuplicate. They began requiring receipts for their receipts. They started asking for manager speaking permits to speak to managers about their manager speaking permits. Chuck, maintaining his perfect assistant demeanor, submitted a request to classify giving someone the side eye as an official diplomatic gesture. The paperwork included a 70-page appendix on the historical and cultural significance of throwing shade. The final stroke of genius came when humans introduced their deadliest weapon, yet reply all emails across the galactic server. Every minor communication was now sent to every being in the galaxy, complete with "per my last email" and just circling back. Phrases that somehow translated perfectly into every known language. Lady Sparkles found herself inexplicably adding hope this helps to all her official correspondence. Commander Rock's entire department started ending messages with best regards but in increasingly passive-aggressive fonts. They've even got the Hive Mind Collective using email signatures with inspirational quotes, Pipsqueak reported, his voice cracking. Yesterday, the Destroyer of Worlds sent a message signed with live, laugh, love in Comic Sans. Martinez sat through all the chaos, sipping her definitely not coffee, occasionally posting cat pictures to the Galactic Council breakroom chat group she'd created. The group somehow had more members than there were sentient beings in the galaxy. Would anyone like to file a complaint, she asked sweetly during one session. I have all the forms right here. They need to be filled out in interpretive dance, as per Section 7, Paragraph 12 of the new regulations. I believe Commander Rock suggested that one personally. Commander Rock tried to sink into the ground. Unfortunately, being made of rock, he only succeeded in creating a very awkward dent in the floor. The galaxy was learning a vital lesson: never challenge humans to a game of petty revenge. They'll not only play, they'll create a comprehensive scoring system, organize it into a league, and somehow get corporate sponsorship for it. And somewhere, in the depths of space, a lone ship's computer received yet another reply, all email chain about proper break room etiquette in the Andromeda sector. The subject line read FWD important notice about coffee mug liberation front meeting minutes. The revolution would be bureaucratized, and it would come with cat videos. The Great Surrender, as it came to be known, occurred during an emergency council session called at, of course, exactly coffee break time. Krill-Bot 9000, his circuits practically begging for mercy, raised all 7 appendages in defeat. Enough, he announced, his voice modulator cracking. We'll give you back your coffee. We'll remove the regulations. Just please stop sending reply all emails about proper meme etiquette. Ambassador Martinez lowered her. This meeting could have been an email mug slowly. And Lady Sparkles chimed in, now sporting a "but first, coffee t-shirt under her diplomatic robes, we propose new galactic laws. Mandatory coffee breaks, no meetings before 10 a.m. Galactic Standard Time, and will officially recognize Keyboard Cat as a cultural heritage site. Don't forget the pizza clause, Chuck called out helpfully from the back. Commander Rock, who had developed a suspicious fondness for pepperoni, quickly added, monthly pizza parties shall be enshrined in the Galactic Constitution, with stuffed crust options available for silicon-based life forms. The peace treaty was signed immediately, written on what suspiciously looked like a Starbucks napkin. The final clause read, and everyone agreed that humans weren't unpredictable, they were just running on insufficient caffeine. 1 week later, Ambassador Martinez sat in the newly renovated council break room, sharing an improbably large pizza with her former adversaries. Lady Sparkles had mastered the art of dipping crust in garlic sauce while maintaining maximum bioluminescence. Commander Rock had evolved the ability to metabolize mozzarella. You know, Krill-Bot 9000 admitted, now sporting a "will work for coffee" sticker on his chassis, these casual Fridays aren't as chaotic as I feared. Just wait until we introduce you to Taco Tuesday, Martinez replied with a wink, causing several nearby aliens to perk up with interest. The galaxy had finally learned its lesson. The new galactic order included provisions for dance breaks, designated meme-sharing channels, and an official council cat who held the rank of admiral. No one questioned why, it simply felt right. As they sat there, enjoying their third pizza and coffee break of the day, now protected by galactic law, a junior delegate started humming Sweet Caroline. This time, every species joined in. Ba ba ba. And in the background, displayed on the break room's massive screen, a keyboard cat played them out while wearing a tiny Galactic Council uniform. Peace had never tasted so much like pepperoni and coffee. In the archives, Krill-Bot 9000's printer produced one final document, a perfect copy of the "This is fine" meme, but with coffee. It became the official seal of the new Galactic Council.